I've been working with people who have negative entity attachments for years, and I've definitely learned over time what they experience. So I'd love to make this video about what you can expect from a negative entity attachment. So let's get started. First of all, the thing that you want to do, I'm sure, is, well, can I just get rid of it? And yes, you can. You can go to any number of healers and shaman and those sorts of people and they'll remove them. But generally what happens is, even though they're very successful at removing them, the entities come back. And so you still have to deal with them over time. Maybe you'll have relief for a week, or maybe a day, or maybe an hour, and then they come right back. I work with people to remove them for good, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about if you've gone and had them removed, or if you haven't yet, and you're dealing with them. What can you expect from that experience moving forward? And what do they want from you? And how can you make that experience not so horrible? So what you can expect from this negative entity is that they want to stay attached to you. And the best way that they can do that is to make sure that your vibration is nice and low. How do they do that? Well, your emotional state has a lot to do with your vibration. And I've made plenty of videos about your emotional frequency using the emotional frequency chart and other methods. And I'll link a video for that right here. But to keep you at a low vibrational frequency, they're going to do whatever they need to do to make you as miserable as they possibly can. So really, what you want to do is check to see what have your symptoms been so far, because everybody experiences symptoms in different ways, and they usually can measure it with what kind of childhood trauma you have, or what kind of blockages you have. So if you've had some sort of an abuse as a child, then most likely the entity is going to mirror that abuse situation in some way. In many cases, people report their experiences are very similar to whatever it was that traumatized them as children. And remember, negative entities know what you're thinking, and they know what your past is. They know your history. So they know exactly how to push your buttons. So it's also very important to know that they are very aware of your thought processes. So if you try to do things to trick them, and where you maybe say something to them, well, if you don't leave me alone, then I'm going to, or I'm going to ignore you until you leave me alone, or leave me alone, I've had enough. Any of these sorts of things, remember that they also hear what the thoughts are behind those statements. So if you say, you better leave me alone or I'll, and you have some sort of threat, you're actually thinking in the back of your minds, well, I'm not actually going to execute on this threat because that would be stupid or whatever. They hear that too. So you can't outfool them or outsmart them. They're right there with you at every step. So you can expect that that's what they're going to do, that they're going to be tuned in to you. So if you have fear of them, they love it, because as you have fear of them, then your frequency is lower, which means they're a vibrational match and they can easily stay attached. So what they want to do is they want to keep that vibration low. They'll use fear, especially fear, it's probably the number one emotion, but they'll also use anger. If you get angry, you get frustrated, you get impatient about the fact that they won't leave you alone and that you've been dealing with them for so long and enough is enough. Well, that's music to their ears. What else can you expect? You can expect that they're going to continue to give you whatever's most effective. So if them waking you up at night and you wake up because they're pushing on you or they're touching you or they're making horrible dreams or you're having sleep paralysis, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that if that's working, you're going to keep getting it. So one of the things that you can start to do is prove to yourself and to them that the thing that they're doing isn't working, that it's not frustrating you, that it's not disappointing you, that it's not angering you, that it's not making you afraid. But they're going to keep pushing those buttons. They're going to keep doing the things that are most effective. And they won't stop as long as they're effective. Another thing that you can expect is that in most cases, probably 98% of the time, it will not get any worse than it's already been. If you can think back to your worst experience with your negative entity attachment or attachments, then you can say that was probably the peak. Because what they're doing is they're expending energy to stay attached to you. And they have to use that energy to ramp up the pain, the suffering that they're causing you. Well, if you aren't giving them enough energy to allow themselves to ramp it up, then they won't. You're probably already giving them the most amount of energy you can give them. You're probably already afraid and frustrated and angry and disappointed and all those emotions about them. So you're already providing them all the energy that they need in order to do what they're doing. But in order to ramp it up, they've got to make you really afraid or really angry or really frustrated. So if you can at least stay at the current level that you're at, it's not going to get any worse. So think about that for a second. Because one of the fears that you probably have is this ever going to end? Number one. And number two, is this just going to keep getting worse and worse? The answer is generally no. That you've seen the worst of it. So maybe that gives you a little bit of relief in knowing how things are going to go moving forward. I hope so. I also work with people in a one-on-one mentorship program to help them remove the entities themselves. These are some of the techniques that I teach, among many, many others, over a 7-week period that solves this problem. So if you're interested in working with me, you can certainly do that, and there are links below in the description where you can get into contact with me and we can talk about ways that I might be able to help. I would love to be able to do that because that's what I do. Why? I do it because you are powerful. You are connected to the spirit world, and you're experiencing this because you have a huge and amazing and beautiful purpose. Right now, that purpose is clouded by this negative entity experience. Well, as soon as we remove that negative entity experience, then your purpose will come flooding in. Your connection to your spirit guides and to the ascended masters and to the angels and to the collectives are going to start streaming in. And you're going to know what you're doing here and how amazing you are and how you can powerfully help the rest of the population or your family or your community or whatever it is that you're here to do. So that's why I do what I do. I'm helping not just remove negative entities, but I'm helping you move on to the rest of your life or to the purpose of your life, why you're here in the first place. So thank you so much for watching this video. I wanted to keep it short so that you could get a better idea of what it is that you can expect and some techniques that you can use to make the process less painful. So thank you so much for watching this video. I wanted to keep it short so you get a good idea of what you need to do in order to make this process be a little less painful. If you could like and subscribe and leave a comment and let me know what you thought. And if you have any further questions, and I can make future videos based on those questions. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.